Oh, wait, I've got to make you big so I can actually see that.
Yeah.
My eyes are not that good. Oh, that looks good. Damn.
Lovely.
That looks great. I like that. Who's the JE lady on top of
I
Katie
don't
Slade is
know.
his name? Huh.
Who could it be? Right.
Crazy person from the East Coast.
So
Such a
what is your
Used to
first
work
name?
on.
I'm sorry, what?
Jane.
What is your first name?
Jane.
Jane. Okay.
Like Tarzan, Jane.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's giving away her alias.
Is there a J name for the devil? Like, is it like Jezebel? No, that's not the devil. What?
No, that's something completely different. honey.
Jezebel is a woman
Oh.
who seduced people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's more like Katie. Wait a second. Katie, are we live? When did
we
that
are.
happen?
I don't know. Are we?
I was going up to look at the time and I'm like, wait a second here. End broadcast. That's not the right button. Well, hello, Rebecca. It's so good to see you. Is this your first time watching? It's good. It's good. Is Namid coming or what is her?
Naveed.
Yes. That guy. We've got to get him on here too, watching. He's always fun. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Spilling Ink. It has been a hot minute, I think. December was crazy for us, as it was for every one of you, I think. We all had family obligations and holidays and seasonal depression. I mean, we had a lot of shit to get through this December, but we're back now, and we've got the full crew, and we've got some amazing guests. We have one of my favorite people, a person who is just so sweet and kind that sometimes they keep me going on even my darkest days. And that is Mike Faria. Mike, welcome to the show. It's so good to see you.
See, I knew you were
what
talking
did
about
there.
me.
And then we have a new author on the show today that wants to learn a little bit about writing and what it means to put together a story and maybe learn a little bit how to edit her story. It's Miss Julia Allen. Welcome to the show, Julia. How are you?
Hello. I know nothing. Nothing.
Oh, and then you all know our evil overlords, Captain Trainwreck and Jane Taylor. Of course, yes, whatever direction you have. I never get it. Oh, and
I
look.
know it's like down. Okay, I got it right. There you go.
Down is easy. It's when you like have to go to the side and stuff.
Brady Bunch cubes here.
Well,
That way, that works.
and speaking of evil overlords, it looks like we have Lauren Faria, who is also in the comments here, and that is Mike's overlord. Lauren, you're going to make sure that he stays on track today, right? I'm hoping so.
Well, she can come in here and bat me in the head if I'm not. So.
Oh yeah, Lauren is excited. We're excited to have you out there. So I saw today as I was logging in, doing all my thorough research 6 minutes ago for the show, that this is the writing and editing show. We have a topic today.
Ooh, yes, I suggested topics and then promptly forgot what they were.
I like it. I like it. Well, most of my show was gonna be all about here. Let me fix this up here real quick here. This is my baby Yoda.
I love it. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh god. Where did you get that? Because I need to get that too.
My wife actually makes them. This is the life size one, but she's been making baby Yodas, which are like half this size, and they're stinking adorable.
Cute.
Yeah, so I think
tell her that she's getting commissioned to make another one.
Well, I think she's been making them and then putting them up on auction on Facebook, and I think the last one went for like $30, so it's not too terrible.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
She's got that side hustle going on. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's not a whole lot of things that she's not really good at. Like you take her out to do something and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you were an expert at this before? Okay. I went to teach her archery and she's shooting better than I am. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense at all. What's happening here?
I was literally going to say she's like the Mary Sue character that's like the badass archer 5 minutes later. And then you said yes.
Yep. Yeah. She's pretty awesome. So,
yeah.
So what about you? What kind of awesome stuff have your significant others made for you lately?
My wife is pretty good at like everything she puts her mind to. Like
good
she
one,
has
good one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, saving myself. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I know
she's watching, so play it up.
No, but she's actually getting ready to start writing articles for a website by Diane Robertson. I can't remember exactly what the name is.
Yeah.
Diana Robertson. Excuse me.
Yeah, I love
Awesome.
And
Diana.
she's going to start writing for them, and she's going to be doing some stuff about tarot and about life and and stuff like that, because she's good at all that stuff. She does astrological signs and all that fun stuff. And the weird part is that she's actually right. I'm like, what do you? She's like, you're going to have problems with your legs. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then sure enough, like
she hits you with a bat in the legs and
misery happens. He's in a bed. There's a wooden block,
No, but she's really good at stuff. It's weird to say. I can't really tell you, but she is.
That's awesome. No, I mean, you just kind of trailed off there. I was waiting for one more thing.
I don't know. I was trying to think of something, but it wasn't coming, so I just stayed silent.
So Lauren, you got one thing.
She's good at other things too. She does a lot of makeup.
Okay. No, that sounds awesome, and I watch Diana and Joshua's posts about that too now and again, and they're so kind of inspirational and uplifting. But sometimes I can't read them because they're also very they're like aggressively inspirational sometimes, where it's like, no one's gonna help you. You are gonna do this thing yourself. And I'm like on the couch almost dead with depression, and I'm like, what? No, somebody freaking help me! Really, I need the help, guys. So,
well,
and then I bring you
Lauren can pull your cards from tarot and tell you your life goal, tell you what you should be doing with your life.
I need one of those. Shoot.
Yeah, well, okay.
Direction. Give me direction.
The next time that she does the live reading, you guys should show up. She's really good at that.
That sounds awesome.
Does your wife do the live readings as well, or is it just Diana that does them?
No,
Diana
my wife
does them on Ornum, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wait. Oh, Regine. I've never seen that person before, but that person says that their wife is also good at everything. So that's cool. I believe you, Regine. She sounds amazing. She sees more on the couch, dude. No, I love it. And it's funny, is the first time I ever saw Diana come online to do to talk about this new stuff that she's doing, and she was pulling these little, I don't know what she called them, tablets or
Oracle cards, probably.
No, they were like little stones or something, like Scrabble things. Runes.
Yeah.
There we go. The first time she pulled one of those for me and told me, and I was like, oh nope, I'm out, because it was so spot on with stuff that nobody in the world knows was going on, that I was like, oh, I can't be a part of this anymore. I'm just gonna walk away right now.
Hi, Josh. Yeah.
Hi, Joshua.
Good to see you. I'm so happy. I can tell my face is going to be hurting by the end of this show.
Well, that's always our goal. Why is everyone saying ruined?
I was telling my friend that everyone always says I've got those Asian cheekbones, but it's actually just from laughing all the time.
Everyone's saying runes. I'm going to call them mystic Scrabble pieces. How about that, Joshua?
I like that.
And if you've got a problem with it, you can come on here and argue with me about it. I mean, I'm with that.
I've never heard them referred to as that, but it makes perfect logical sense.
Oh, well, guys, I suppose before we... Oh, wait. This looks like an interesting comment. Joshua says she is still one of the top readers on Ornum. She's actually on there right now working. That's cool. That sounds really intense, like it should be in a fantasy novel.
It's crazy because all of this started, like, I met all of you guys and everybody through Josh and his show, Writer Imperfect.
Right.
So,
one show.
And so, like, it really opened up a lot of doors for me. And now here I am sitting here talking to you. I remember the first show that I ever participated in. I was so nervous I could die. And now it's like just like talking to mom. You know, it's like blah blah blah.
You're talking about Katie, right?
I'm mom.
Hey, I'm Mom. Hold on a second.
No.
I don't even get bothered anymore. I just do the thing.
Well, the first time it was like the first week of the show, Captain Trainwreck, that I came on.
Yeah, you're one of our very first guests.
Yeah, I was just on as a guest, and I had so much fun, and I was like, yeah, let's do this more. And now I'm here all the time.
And he never left.
I did. They couldn't get rid of me.
I'm kept him here.
Yeah, I'm like those cockroaches that aren't just behind your stove; they're like in the electronics of the stove, and you just can't ever get them out.
Like behind the time.
That's right.
You know.
And there's he's one of the fancy ones that calls himself a palmetto bug because he's too cool to be a cockroach. I'm the palmetto bug.
The spider on the wall that's too high for you to reach with the shoe, so you just give in. You're like, yeah,
leave it be, right?
Yep.
We're there. We're fine.
I'm tall. I can reach anything. I was like,
I'm short. I can't reach anything.
My wife's like 5'3", and she's like, I can't get it. Help me. And I'm like, there you go.
Wait, do the wife impression again.
I am.
Help.
Now he's definitely on the couch.
I don't do the doghouse. Like, you're mad at me? Good night.
Mom. Hold on a second here.
This is where I sleep, right here. When we're not getting along or not, that's my bed.
Yeah, he's already in the room. That she's not kicking him out.
Right.
It's funny. I actually, speaking of spiders, I have 2 tarantulas in my house right now for a photo shoot next week. And it's freaking my wife out pretty bad. And I actually went to, and I put on these special gloves to do it. I picked one of them up earlier today, and I thought I was going to be brave, and I kind of freaked out a little bit, and I put it right back down, and I was scared, and my daughter was making fun of me, but they're pretty scary creatures, tarantulas.
Oh,
have you ever had one bite you before?
No, that's why I'm wearing the gloves.
Oh, okay. Because I hear that it doesn't feel very good.
No, well, the woman who loaned them to me for the photo shoot told me, she was like, "You're not allergic to bees, are you?" I was like, No, I'm good. She was like, "Good, because if they do bite, it's no worse than a bee sting, really." And I'm like, "What? That's bad."
Yeah,
that's, really bad.
That's a little intense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
And Stacey,
I'm getting the heebie-jeebies just sitting here talking about spiders.
well, and Stacey Filek is watching. Oh man, Stacey, I always mispronounce your last name. It's either Filek, Philic, or Felix. One of those 3. Stacey, who's an amazing fantasy author, is watching, and I'm going to be getting her and her friend Allie, who's an incredible novelist and poet, on as a show together too. So that'll be a lot of fun. But hi, Stacey. Thanks for joining in. Sorry I can't come to that convention with you next week. I'm really hoping I can sometime in the future, though. Sorry, I spoke too much, didn't I, again, Katie? I'm sorry.
I'm just waiting for Jason's awesome segue into what we're actually supposed to be talking about.
Well, spiders.
Speaking of spiders,
Let me tell you a thing or two about spiders. Did you know that at the end of each of their feet, each of their legs, they've got all these little hairs, and most of you can imagine that on a tarantula, big, hairy, creepy guys. But at the end of each of those hairs, there's more fine little hair-like hooks, so they can literally grab anything. So, like, if you pick one up trying to be brave, it will latch on to your your hand, and you have to pry it off because it wants to be with you, so that it can suck your blood and lay eggs in your heart.
Right.
Have you guys ever held an octopus?
They're not that evil.
No, I do want an octopus, though. That'd be amazing.
Like, I mean, it's so weird because we actually caught one when we were out fishing one day, and we put it in our bait well, and it started eating all of our live shrimp.
Right.
And I was like, oh, cool. And I stuck my finger in there, and I touched his suction cup. Dude, you don't want to be in the water with one of those things, bro. Yeah? Those things, if they get a hold of you, you're a dead dude. I mean, okay, this one was about this big, but some of them get like 8 feet.
Wow.
And you versus an octopus, night.
Wow. Okay. Well, I just thought they were adorable.
Super. Well, they're smart. Like they recognize you and stuff. You ever seen the video of the guy who saved one from the beach, and then he came back to see it over the next couple of weeks, and it was like, hello.
Well, I did see Finding Dory, and there was an octopus in that, and he was pretty
Yeah,
clever.
they're like smart. They're like
Mhm.
they have a memory. You know, they're weird.
Well, speaking of being weird, you guys are writers.
I was waiting for you to point to me.
And Julia, before we get into this whole writing and editing gig that we're doing tonight, can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about what you write? That way we have an introduction for all the thousands of people that are watching. Some of them might not know you.
Thousands. Right. And you introduced me as a new author. I am the author of the Angel Born series. So I write as J.K. Allen, and it is young adult urban fantasy. So the whole idea is Ginny thinks she's a normal teenager until she gets a strange bruise that just won't go away and starts having weird dreams. Turns out a half demon is after her because she's not who she thinks she is. So hijinks ensue, and lots of fun stuff happens.
I like that word, hijinks.
It's my social media handle, hijinks writer, so.
It's a
See how I
nice
segue into that,
Oh, well, Mike, what about you? What do you write about?
Well, when I first started out writing, I was
hang on real quick. We got a weird echo going on.
when I first started out writing, I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to write about, but it ended up being like started turning into a horror. And at first I didn't want it to really be a horror because there are so few agents who represent it, but the one that I wrote is called Passenger, and it is a psychological supernatural horror where a demon basically harasses a child and his family, trying to isolate him from his family, and a lot of bad stuff happens, but it takes place over the course of years. So, that, but now I'm currently writing a novel about, it's called Scrivendar, which is a sci-fi fantasy with a mixture of horror in there. And it takes place on a completely different planet where humans don't exist, horses don't exist, or anything. So I'm basically having to build it from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really having a good time writing that one, even though it's coming along slower. But I'm really proud of this one. My wife says that it's her favorite book, and I'm not even finished writing it yet. Now I'm like, oh, yeah, well, you're just saying that because you're my wife, But, she has read a lot of books, and she's like, Mike, this is really something special, She's like, this is really going to be something, and you need to keep on with this. And so I've been keeping on with it. I wrote 1,000 words today. I have about 120 pages written so far, and I want to write an entire saga because I've created entire continents, entire countries, different codes, different races, and all that stuff. And the way that it's turning out is kind of like a trip to Mordor, because it's like a guild of sorcerers and warriors and stuff like that, and they're going to kill the big bad guy who's bringing back the dead with necromancy, or also known as death dancing. And and they're going to kill this big bad guy who can basically melt your eyeballs in your head. So it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like a really epically
it is, yeah.
scheme thing.
You had me at death dancing. I need that on a t-shirt.
I like it. I like it.
They're called death dancers.
Oh,
I think you could go somewhere like a little spin-off, not you, Mike, but me, like a little spin-off short story. Like, have you heard of the death spiral that some insects and animals can do?
Yeah, like they do it around cell phones.
Yes,
yes. It's like, what's that doing to me?
But let's take a moment to appreciate how much his wife is encouraging him, because those words of encouragement are so helpful.
Yeah.
Right.
She is literally the best cheerleader I could ever ask for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
husbands and wives out there, please keep lying to us like that. We need it. We need to hear that to keep going. We need it. No, but that sounds amazing, Mike and Julia. Those are really cool. And Mike, are you being who was your publisher for this new one?
Oh, excuse me. I am an author with Three Furies Press. And
I thought so.
Mama Fury over there in the bottom left. Over there.
No, the other way.
Yep, she's one of my publishers, so I'm really glad to be here with you.
Now, who's your editor?
My editor is Christy Stratus. She edited Passenger for me.
Awesome.
And it's also going to be going through, even though she did a great job and the story is amazing, it's going to go through another round of editing just before publication, just to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row and stuff like that. And
yeah, we love Christy, but we always do our own edits as well.
Mm-hmm. And that really is a good segue too into our side topic of not only writing, but the editing side of it and the importance that holds.
Right.
Yes.
Because
we love our editors.
Before I found a publisher, I hired Christy. So
right.
That was the thing, was that, I was like, I need to get this thing just right, because I'm shooting for the big dogs. And,
right, it's not a bad idea at all. Like, if you think about the fact that you want to put your best foot forward, and if you're turning in something that has a lot of like obvious flaws in it, then it's hard to see like what's behind the story, because you get distracted by all these like, all this grammar's mixed up and words are missing or the wrong words. Like, people always do though instead of thought, or vice versa. Like, little things like that can be so distracting. So it's nice to have like an editor go through your work and just kind of shine it up a little bit before you like head it off to publishers,
I agree. Although when I write something, it comes out pretty much perfect. So
never
really know anything about that.
Nailed it.
Right.
I've spent sometimes hours in a day, like just sitting there going like, and like scratching my head, like looking like a monkey. And I get like a page done, in like 4 hours. But I will sit there and I will rip it apart and I'll break it down and I'll make it sound better, because I know that some people are like, oh, well, just get it out and then fix it later. And I understand that, because getting a page done when you've put 5 hours into it is not good quality. Or it's not, I wouldn't say good quality, but it's not very productive.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I have an issue where I feel like if I just throw turds at a wall to see what sticks, and then I keep on moving on, then I fear that when I finally do go back to edit, that I will not be in the same state of mind that I was in then. And I'll be like, what the hell was I talking about? I don't even know. And it'll be even more infuriating to me than if I'd have just sat there and spent 5 hours on a page.
Their own, that you got to write the way you write.
I can I can relate to that, but it's a two-part kind of thing. As someone who works with dogs professionally, if you throw turds against a wall, it is just going to be turds that stick. That's all that sticks.
That's true. It's still turds.
Yes, it's still turds. But so I am absolutely terrible at revisions. Like, I can't go back through an entire manuscript very well and actually revise a story and improve the story and make it better. I can go back through and edit. I can proofread and do stuff like that, but it's really difficult for me to change any content. So the first time around when I write it, I try to write it the best I possibly can. I can't just word vomit and move on, because I know that I won't be able to get back to that place correctly, like you were saying. But, I can go back and fix, grammatical stuff or typos and things like that. And, but yeah, so I get that, which is very different than how Captain Trainwreck does it. Captain Trainwreck will will burn through a really skeleton draft, and then she's able to go through and completely add more story to it later on. You know,
right.
Put
But
the
Captain,
bones down and put the meat, and then go back and put the meat in, and that's what I mean. That's how we did 3 books in 6 months.
And
right,
Yeah,
but some people are plotters and some people are pantsers. So some people need that first draft to tell the story to themselves and get the ideas out, whereas other people, they already kind of know what's going to happen, so it's easier to just craft the sentences more finely.
yeah, everybody's going to write in their own way, and you have to find your style when you're writing. You can't just say, well, a book told me I have to write this way, so this is the only way I'm going to write, because it's going to make your writing that much harder. And Jane, to what you said about us writing 3 books in 6 months, our style was so similar that it worked well for us, because both of us weren't afraid to go, we're just throwing this chapter in. And I would even write notes at the beginning. This is me throwing shit at a wall.
Yep.
Just go with it.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
By the way, we got our second high compliment. My dad couldn't tell my writing from yours.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
Well, isn't that what you want to shoot for? You know, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of one of those,
like,
like,
to meet Katie.
yeah, like,
There's
I don't
that
know, like, did you guys just happen to write similarly, or did one of you kind of mold together like this,
Our
and like
styles
became like one another?
We write in similar
reading for each other for forever.
Yeah. Since we both started, we've pretty much been in each other's circle, and we've read each other's books. We baited for each other for so many years. So yeah, we kind of have a similar style to begin with.
Right.
And Mike, I just want you guys to know that Mike has really bloomed. He has, you know, according to Lauren here, he's just really bloomed. It's amazing. And also, is this Lauren Carey? Is this a real person, or is this some kind of Mike bot? Just for the compliment, Mike. What the hell?
I paid for that.
I did
paid
dishes for
Google.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, Julia,
Yeah.
because you're a professional,
Okay.
as a professional editor, what writers do you think come up with the best end product pre-editing? Do you think the pantsers or the plotters end up with a better product that comes across your desk?
That's not a fair question.
Okay, I will answer it though. I'll say that they both come up with great quality products. It just is how long does it take them to get there?
Well,
you know what I mean? Because like I said, if you're starting out with, you know, your rough draft is rough and just telling the story to yourself and you're kind of figuring out what's happening, like that's great, but you're going to need more rewrites than somebody who's like plotted ahead and can write maybe like 2 drafts instead of 5. So it's not necessarily a matter of like which one ends up with a better story. They both write amazing stories, but it's like sometimes like we know, okay, this person is going to go through a lot more developmental edits. So they're going to need more time before they get on the publishing schedule.
Okay. So they're the pantsers are they might need more work, but maybe they're getting there faster.
Well, it's kind of like the great thing about pantsing is a lot of times, you know, those twists and stuff, they just click in their head randomly. And so you get a story and you're just like, I didn't see this coming, or like, how is this going to be possibly resolved? And then it has the perfect ending, which is amazing to get in a book. So it's like, it's definitely worth it. And it definitely works for who it works for. I find with myself, I'm writing a new book on a new series that's in the Angelborn universe, but different characters. And my process has completely changed with every single book.
Okay.
Like, so writing Angelborn, writing Heavenfire and Demonkind, my process slowly changed during that. And then writing this book is like completely different again. So, you know, keep experimenting with like finding what works for you. You know, don't just get stuck in I have to write like this, or, you know, I have to be a pantser, or I have to be a plotter. Like, there's a whole spectrum.
Well,
I mean,
and
I have a scene and then the book comes.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, I am not a plotter at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even doing the stuff that Katie and I do that way. Katie and I did, it was a lot of, working together and throwing things at each other and talking through it. And it was in some ways plotting. I've written a mystery that I didn't know who did it until the end.
Yeah.
I know.
I made everybody possible, and people said, well, I never saw that coming. It's like, yes, that's what you want, but neither did I.
That's right. The difference between pantsing and plotting too is a plotter may inadvertently telegraph the end because they already know it. Whereas a pantser, as they're writing it, it's all coming in real time. And like you just said, if you're writing a book and you're not even sure who's going to be the killer at the end, that does show when you get to the end of it that it's a surprise. This was the killer. And you're really genuinely surprised sometimes.
Right. But, there are things like foreshadowing and like little details that you have to add in so it all makes sense. So sometimes that works better for plotters because they're able to like say, like, I'm going to drop this hint here, but I'm going to do a little diversion here. So you think it could be someone else, There's pros and cons to like both ways of writing. Like, I really think there's no one right way to do it,
Absolutely.
Well, and I think a lot of it depends too on the type of story you're writing, the genre that you're writing in. If you're writing some kind of epic sci-fi or a fantasy adventure, you are probably going to have a whole hell of a lot of wheels turning that you need to keep track of. So you're probably going to be keeping track of them, not necessarily in an outline, but in some kind of encyclopedia for yourself. Or if you're writing something to do with espionage or a crime thriller, a lot of times you have to have all those details. What's Mike holding up over there?
It's sorry, because Joe Compton was like, "What kind of beer is Mike drinking?" And I was like trying to sneak it in there. There you go. Brogel is a German beer. So I wanted to ask you guys something because I kind of fall somewhere in what they call a plantser, Plantser, which is somewhere in the middle. And I write composition notes or in composition books for each one of my novels. And this one right here is for my Scrivener novel.
Ooh.
Or at least for my first one. And I have approximately this many notes. Okay. Now it's hard to show you, but this is how much I've written, and that's how much I have left. So most of this composition book is full. So, but the thing is that of all the notes that I take, aside from people's names or their eye color or what skin tone they have, or if they're hairy or not hairy or whatever it might be that comes into play when my characters' descriptions come up, that all stays in line. But as far as the storyline goes, I don't always have the answer then. And
well, I think we are talking more about something I would consider like a series compendium or a story Bible, rather than actual plotting, like doing the outlining for what's going to happen. So Ice is really great at explaining like how to make a good story compendium. She's a big pantser, but it's really important to keep little details right. You don't want the character who, is the raven-haired beauty to suddenly have red hair in chapter 16 and like little details like that. So you like make out character sheets, and you might do location maps and just big facts and like that you need to know, like the gem that's important is the ruby ring and it's found here. So it's not necessarily going through and saying like I'm making a chapter outline, but it's saying these are the details that happen in the series and I need to know to write the other books too.
And every once in a while, when I get into a hard spot, I will go back and I will start writing to try to figure it out. Because for me, when I start writing things by hand, a whole new world of things unlock. Like it's like all of a sudden I can think clearly and I can figure it out. Doesn't matter who's talking in the background. If the dog's barking at other dogs, the cat's butt's in my face, like Jason, and all that stuff. Nothing matters because I have a pen and paper and I can write that down. And I just so easily write my way out of these writer block situations. And I don't really, every once in a while I will hit a snare here and there, but for the most part, if I'm hitting a rough spot, I just write it out on paper, and all of a sudden I know exactly what's supposed to happen. But sometimes I only listen to about 50% of what I actually write.
And there's no one right way to do it. You have to find what works for you as an individual author. And
my first 2 books I wrote all out by hand and then started editing as I typed. And the 3rd book I was just like, that's not going to work for this one, so I had to change it. Yeah,
that takes a lot of hand muscles too. I mean, the cramping, that's tough.
I wouldn't be able to read my writing.
I was the weirdo in college. Everyone else had laptops and I'm like scribbling furiously away because I actually write really fast. So yeah.
I like the dictating to your phone. That's a good way to do it. I'll sit there and type out notes to myself on my phone as well, just so I can come back to something later. Because you always get an idea when you're not around your manuscript, whether it's in the shower, whether it's in traffic or whatever, and you need some way to get those notes from your head to the page before you forget.
Yes, because you will forget. The biggest lie you ever told yourself is, I'll remember that tomorrow.
No, you won't.
You will not, ever.
For myself or for my characters. And so that's kind of my not necessarily plotter way of dealing with stories, but if I have a goal in mind, and I need my character to do X, Y, Z before they get to the end, then I can always refer back to that to-do list and go, did I check that item off? Did I check that item off? And I still have direction, but I can do everything as organically as it comes to me.
Yeah, I love how Katie explains it as a to-do list. I also like to set goals for myself before I sit down to write. Like, what is the purpose of this chapter? Am I developing this character or this relationship between these 2 people? Am I, foreshadowing? Am I dropping, plot device here? Knowing, like, literally just being like, I'm going to do this in this chapter. It doesn't matter if I don't know what to write, really. Like, that'll be like, okay, I know kind of what to write, and I get past writer's block really easily that way.
Beat sheets actually are pretty helpful in that respect too, because like the to-do list, it just gives you target points to hit, and those target points are maybe tied specifically to whether it's an up or a down as far as changes that need to occur for the dramatic effect.
I agree.
Jason's looking pensive.
That helped us get through a hump too.
It does. Right. Well, especially when we were doing a 3-book series and we knew each book had to have its individual plot points, but we still had to hit the overarching plot by the end of it. How do we get there? Okay, we're going to make sure we've hit this and this. The checklist, the sheets helped us figure out, if we missed something.
Right.
Yeah. With my current novel, I have 4 different countries or territories where my characters have to roam. So this is like at least from what we know, there's at least this one continent, and one is Crossmortis, and then there's another one called the Valley of Maugre, and Malathrakon, and Ulzaron, and Garanelis. Okay, so you got 5. And in my story so far, we have only done stuff in this one particular area, and it's a guild, so they're all adventurers and stuff like that. So they're basically like mercenaries for hire, but they also do the bidding of the king. So the whole world is open to them, and the only place that I've actually been writing in for the past 120 pages is about this much of the map. And I'm like, oh man, and I get to create all these extra weird alien beasts and stuff like that it's like I have this one creature. It's called an Ajunjin, Ajuunjin. Okay, and it's basically if a panther was crossed with a toad. you know, and it's like, oh, cool. And at night, their fur changes color to match the darkness. So they're basically the perfect night stalker. And so I create all these like extra animals and beasts and stuff like that. And so it really brings the world to life. And because I'm only in one part of the continent, there is so much more to create, and there's so much more to do. There's always going to be a bad guy, some person who's raising the dead, or, you know, turning kings against countries, and everybody's killing each other because it's a very hostile world. You know, it's surprising that even civilization exists, because it's everything can kill you. Like even the plants will kill you. So it's like, you know, like I said, I have a pretty wild imagination, and I really like to let it run. And, you know, another thing, it's like it's called a Zerit blade bill, and it's basically an elephant with a mosquito sucker, and it sucks your guts out of your body. Well, you know, and like my people, they're not humans. Like the Shrieverin, they're like 9 feet tall, but that's not unusual for them because they're 9 feet tall, you know, and that's just how we are, you know.
I like how you said "we" as if you're one of these creatures.
Oh no, yeah.
I like how someone's trying to catch these hands in the comments, you know. Becca's trying to call me out.
Yeah, does Becca type as fast as she reads? Because if so, I'm afraid you don't have a chance.
She read my book in like 3 hours.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, I literally read 1 million words this weekend.
How do people read that fast? I don't comprehend that. I'm the slowest reader in the world, so that makes no sense.
I mean, I can read pretty fast, but that's still like only like a book and a half a day. And she's just like 3 books later, like, where's the rest?
I wrote The Stand, and I read The Stand in 1 day. Sorry.
What?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish so much that I could read that fast, because I'm like, and she went to the neighbor's house,
and then I went to
sleep. I'm like, I feel so dumb when I read, you know, but I mean, I'm getting better. It takes practice, but I don't think I'll ever get to Jonesy's level.
Mike,
it really is practice.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can read.
It's super helpful when editing.
Yeah, I don't understand how some editors can get through books so fast and be able to notate it, because I'll do manuscript critiquing and I will do some really in-depth notes, but it'll take me a while to get through. Let's say, you know, even a 50,000 word manuscript could take me 2 weeks sometimes to really, you know, go through and notate. And editors can shoot that back in a week? What? No.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, you got to have something special about you to be able to do that so fast. I mean,
oh, come on, don't start.
Much respect.
Building Rebecca up. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that.
And me.
I mean, and Julia.
Okay, and here we go. Questions for the editors out there. What is your biggest pet peeve that you see authors doing in manuscripts?
Oh, geez. It's hard for me to say, because like a lot of mistakes, like I completely understand, you know, like, you know, they're like, I memorized the, you know, comma rules because I used to teach English to international students when I was in college. But like, that's not something that like they really like sit you down in high school English and say like, these are when you need commas. So it's like a lot of people are just like, go comma crazy, where they have like the walk-in comma where it's like every 2 words, you know, there's a pause and they think that's natural, you know. And then there's other people who will have like you know, 3-line sentence with no commas whatsoever in it, you know. So we've got both here, yes. But like I get it, because like I know our school system, you know, also like doesn't focus on that. And unless you really learn a foreign language and understand like what the grammar terms are for that, then you don't really relate that back to English. It's all intrinsic knowledge that we just kind of unconsciously know. But I will say what really like does kind of irk me is like, especially when they don't do it correctly, like when they get really like pedantic and they're like, I'm going to use these highfalutin words and because I'm fancy and special, but they use the wrong words. And I'm like, if you don't understand what this words mean, like, why would you put it in, especially when your character is an 11-year-old child?
We like 50
Right.
words,
You know
okay?
what I mean? Like, I'm 5 years old and I abraded my skin, you know? It's just like
Oh,
read naturally. Yeah, like, where did that word come from? You just were like reading the thesaurus this weekend because you were bored. Like, I don't know. That's just me though.
Why? Yeah.
See, I like to say that I write in the common tongue, but really it's because I just don't have a big vocabulary. So everything is very simple.
But I like the way you describe it, so it works.
If I do have to look something up in the thesaurus, I make sure that I look it up in the dictionary next, or vice versa,
Right.
one or the other. I look it up and I make sure it fits.
connotations for different words, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they kind of mean the same thing, but one's for one situation and one's for another, you know. It's just a whole, like, don't try to impress your reader, like, just write naturally.
Yeah,
And if
I
you
do.
yeah.
I do that, but like my main character, I do. No, like my main character, he's kind of like the wise old spellcaster, you know, like he'll like heal your wounds and hit you in the face with a fireball, but he also talks kind of like Yoda. But you know what I kind of noticed is like Yoda, the way that Yoda speaks is kind of like how every other language in human language speaks, which is kind of backwards. You know what I mean? Like the only ones who don't really talk like that is the English language. So basically Yoda speaks in another language, but in English. You know, he's like, to the house I go.
Code
You know what I
switching.
mean?
Yeah, they call that code switching.
Yeah,
What?
but my main character, he's more regal, he's more noble, kind of like. Now, some of the other characters, they speak with contractions, and they're we're, they're, you know. But him, he's always like do, you know, and like talks like with authority, and so like he's respected in that way, and he always seems to have the right answer.
Now,
So
that can be an
like
effect.
with the wisdom.
Right, and that's not what
is
gets
getting
me going. Yeah, like I said, for me, it's like more when it like doesn't match with the character, or you can tell it's author insertion of like, look at my intelligence, you know, rather than, you know, or they're trying really hard to, you know, be at a certain level. When it's just like, if your character is literally like an 11-year-old boy, they're going to talk very differently than if they're a college professor or a doctor or a lawyer. You know, there are certain people in certain situations, like if you're having a philosophical debate, then by all means, like, you know, go, you know, high ground on this. But like, you know, if it's just like a kid fell down, he's not going to be like, you know, using medical terms.
You didn't have to worry about that with my manuscript at all.
Right, but I had to worry about like, oh my God, there's no happy endings.
Now there's another question.
Your book found a good home, though. Your book did find a good home. You know how I had you give me an extra one with well, I bought it. People,
yes, she bought it.
Do not ask for free books from authors. You buy that crap.
No,
you
know?
she
was my first buyer, and I am proud to be a seller to her. I give her all the goods all the time.
Yeah, no, Jason's book is amazing. And it comes out next Thursday.
I pre-ordered your book too, Jason.
Yeah,
pre-ordered.
Yeah,
awesome.
you will not regret it. But yeah, your book found a good home, just to let you know.
Well, Julia was just telling me that she needed a new hot tub. So Mike, I appreciate you pre-ordering that to help go towards the Julia Hot Tub Fund.
Why a new hot tub? Does the old one not work?
That's the secret.
At least you have a hot tub. I don't have a hot tub.
No, you know what's funny, guys? Because Rebecca just said this. Jason is a dealer, but not of happy endings. Okay. I have a confession to make. I really don't like reading stories or watching shows or movies that don't have a happy ending. I don't like it.
Right.
I mean, I feel it just I get done. I'm like, oh, I just feel bad now. I guess I'll eat more.
Have you seen the Joker
Right, let me
yet?
just eat some ice cream now.
So then that's what I go and write, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why would I do this to people? Oh, thank you, Anita. Thank you very much. No, I'm actually I'm actually proud of this book, and I have a real big problem with self-esteem and imposter syndrome, and I just have a tough time believing in myself. It's terrible, which many authors do, but I've been getting so many nice compliments from early reviewers, and they just kind of fill me up.
Authors, all authors. Neil Gaiman himself has talked about how he was at a dinner with Neil Armstrong, and Neil Armstrong felt like an imposter being there with everyone in the room, and Neil Gaiman was like, not Neil Armstrong, the space guy. He was like,
the astronaut, man on the moon,
like an imposter, then like everyone feels this way. You know what I mean? It's not just you. Like literally everyone is like got the doubts and the anxiety, especially right around release date, where you're just like, oh crap, it's coming, and I have no idea what to expect.
And it doesn't change no matter how many books you put out.
Right.
I'll tell you. I mean, it's rough because, the human psyche is so strange. Like I was writing about it today, and I said, I have an easier time talking with people than I do sitting by myself in front of the camera with endless access to the stop and play button. So I will just I will reshoot the entire thing 1,000 times and still not feel right about it because I say too many times.
What are you?
I'm like
What are you shooting in front of the camera by yourself?
Oh, I've done. Oh, man.
What are you doing, dude? Is this the feet site that we keep hearing about?
No, I've done some book reviews and stuff like over the past. Like I did one actually of this one, which is called The Devil in the White City, which is actually one of my favorite books. Really liked it a lot. It's about the guy named H.H. Holmes, the serial killer in Chicago.
Love him, love it.
Hotel horror, that he built the house of horror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I did a review on that, and it turned out just fine. But I tried doing another video about something else, and I didn't like the way it sounded. So I restarted it, and I restarted it again. And about 50 or 60 times later that I stopped and restarted it, I gave up and walked away because I couldn't stop saying and I was mad at myself. So like that imposter syndrome is for real. I mean, and even if you're successful, even if you've made your $1 million, you know what? You still don't like it when people call you and they're like, would you like to extend your car warranty? Or something like that. Or like when your phone rings and it's somebody you don't really want to talk to, your heart kind of goes, ugh.
Right. Well, let me say this for the people who are feeling like the self-imposter syndrome hardcore, or they feel like I'm, making a video and it's not good enough. Like those little quirks and those little flaws, they make you so endearing and relatable to your audience. Like Katie knows this because she does public speaking as well, but I do public speaking and I get terrified. And I'm just like, sometimes it goes really great, but I've had moments where I'm like, literally talking like this because I'm so nervous. My voice is shaking. But like people smile at me and they encourage me because it's like, they're like, she's just being human. Like they understand it's not an easy thing to do. And they like appreciate you trying, like people are a lot nicer in those situations than you like think. So like it doesn't have to be perfect because it's just gonna like they're just gonna be like, oh how cute, he says again,
Drink.
Well, it's drink. I like that. That's the only time when I actually feel comfortable speaking is if I'm on stage or doing things like this. If it's just me at home, I feel terrible about myself. But as soon as I get to talk to other people, it's like magically I'm not this super depressed, self-conscious person. That doesn't make any sense at all. But it's just one of those weird things. And I think that doing shows like this really help authors to kind of embrace that side of themselves, because you need to be a little bit more outgoing, or at least a little bit more out there to make it. And I just want to point out that Lauren, Mike's overlord, says
don't say anything. I'm so nervous.
He is gorgeous, and she didn't marry him just for the bad porn he makes. So we're sorry, Mike. We're
Oh
sorry
my
we called it
God,
bad
I'm
porn.
gonna die. I'm gonna die. Oh, I'm dead.
Right.
I'm dying over here laughing, trying not to be too loud. The comment section is brilliant today, guys.
You know, Lauren,
Ah.
Lauren, I really wish you were on this show right now, but then I wouldn't have all these amazing comments to go back to, because you're kind of, I feel like, you know, Rebecca threw down the gauntlet for Julia here on some kind of writing contest that we still haven't gotten the details on.
Right.
I feel like Lauren is throwing down the gauntlet on Rebecca on witty comments this whole time, because I mean, let's face it. I mean, she's killing it today. She is.
Oh, you hear that,
Oh,
Rebecca?
there she is. There she is. Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
We love you. We want you on here next time.
Okay, you be on next time.
Rebecca is my homegirl.
Oh, gross. God,
Oh,
guys.
you guys are adorable.
Get a different bedroom. Jeez.
Get a different bedroom.
Oh, I tell you what, I needed this laugh this weekend, and that's one of the reasons I love Spilling Ink so much. It's that hour a week of just hanging out with really cool people, and every guest we ever bring on has brought something new to the table, has made it enjoyable, and just extends that tribe that we've talked about many times.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yep.
It's made me more open on air and not really. I guess I'm less self-conscious now than I was.
Oh yeah,
It does.
It's like,
that's
I mean,
what. Yeah,
before, I would have never gone with no makeup, my hair looking like, you know, I just went in a sock.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my underwear right now, and I don't care.
Okay.
Whatever.
showing us his underwear on camera before. No, shows like this are great and my favorite because like I can be more of an introvert and I do have anxiety issues. So like going on shows was not easy, and like Joshua's show, Writer and Perfect, and this show, you guys are so welcoming and great hosts and like lead the conversation so well that I like didn't have to worry about like it's not planned, it's not script, I don't know what I have to say, you know. It was like, you know, I was so nervous, and now I feel so comfortable on shows like this because, you know, you guys are so amazing. Yeah.
It's great because like if you're on Oprah or something, it's like, oh my God, you know, like there's like 50 million people watching or whatever. But I mean, and hey, maybe 50 million people will watch this because we had a great time and they would have a great time too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, at the same time, like, you know, I don't know, maybe there's just something about the viewership and how many, and like, if you say the wrong thing, everyone's going to know about it because you said it on Oprah. You know, but if you just think about what the hell you're saying before it comes out of your mouth, you're usually not going to step in too many bear traps.
Well, and I
as you get older, you
care less.
You don't give a damn. Basically, it's like, oh well.
Yep.
This is the world.
Well, I think that part of the comfort level too is working with your peers, you know, working with other writers and editors, people that are in this business, because most of us have some very similar experiences. We've had some similar pain, we've had similar joy and disappointment and heartache, and so we can usually relate to what each other's saying, and so we've kind of got this camaraderie that goes on where even if I've never spoken to someone that comes on the show before, I know, oh, okay, this is another indie author. This person's been through a lot of the same experiences I have. We're automatically going to have a little bit of a connection. And I think that just makes it so much easier for people just to kind of relax and say, okay, we're here to talk. You know, it's not a hard thing. It's not tough.
And I love coming on with my author family.
That's right. It's the tribe.
Yeah.
The first show that I ever went on, I was afraid that I was going to forget my name. That's how scared I was.
Right.
I was like, watch, I'm going to get on there and I'm going to be like, hi, my name is. You know what I
It's in the
mean?
lower corner of your little window there. It says it right there. You
Right.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Now I see it.
The first Spilling Ink I was on, my computer didn't work, and I had to do it from my cell phone in the living room with the Christmas tree behind me.
Oh, those ones are always rough.
Oh yeah. And I was like,
Right.
oh,
Mm.
so I was nervous, and technology was against me.
Well,
Murphy's
and-
Law is always in play.
and
Yep.
speaking of that, you guys all see Baby Yoda?
Aw.
Baby Yoda.
My wife makes these amazing crocheted Baby Yodas, and I am just in love because I love The Mandalorian.
How much does she charge for
We
those?
need to catch up on those episodes.
Oh, they're so good, Mike. Okay, wait. Here's Baby Yoda.
What's the
We've seen
child?
3 of them.
Yeah, so this is the big one, but she makes mini ones that are even cuter, and I think they're like $30 or something. But I'll tell you what, they are. If you want one, hit me up because she's really enjoying it. She just we watch TV at night and she crochets and does all sorts of cool stuff for people, and she's doing like custom pets now, like this
Oh
lady
yeah, the
contacted her.
pug. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, and this other lady wanted one that looked like her dog. She was like, "Sure, I can do that." I was like, "Awesome, so cool."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually been crocheting like a fiend as well. Like the whole month of
Sweet.
December, it was like colonial times in my home. We were sitting there with one light on, crocheting. Mom's making
That
a
seems like
blanket,
so
Carol's making
sophisticated.
hats, and I'm like hats and scarves, blankets, making it all. But
It seems hard to do. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start.
I've been doing it since I was 4 because my mom is like the master. She's the queen at it. She can make anything. She taught me how to do flowers. She's like, she could just like see something and she's just like, shh, all of a sudden done masterpiece, crochet masterpiece. So I've gotten pretty fast at it just because I'm like, I've been doing it for a long time. So I have fun with it, It's like nice. You're watching TV. You want to still feel productive. Like make some people hats. I made Katie a hat. I got to mail that still. Jason is getting something. Some other people are getting gifts. It's big secrets. So.
Ooh, nice. She's actually making something for me right now too. Besides Baby Yoda, she's making me like a cool slouchy hat. So I'm really excited about that.
Those are the
But, yeah.
best. I love slouchy
Yeah.
hats. Hey, tell Heather to save a spot for me. I wanna order a Baby Yoda from her.
All right.
Yeah, I'm count us in 2. Lauren wants 2.
I still,
Right.
well, you have got to you haven't earned one yet, Mike. You've got to finish The Mandalorian.
Okay.
But what do you think?
All right. I do really like the Baby Yoda. I'm pretty sure they stole the Mogwai idea.
Mhm.
Like from Gremlins.
Yeah.
We got him off. Can I do him
Gizmo.
off the stream somehow. How do I get him off of there?
Oh,
He's
not
kicking
the
you out.
Mandalorian, it's the Baby Yoda show. I mean, that's it.
Right.
He's the show. I'm there
Yeah.
for all the cute little stuff he does.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, and I'm totally in love with Mando. He's awesome, and I love that character.
Yeah, he went from being like a real like hardcore bounty hunter to like actually having a soul and being like, all right,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
I
it's
got
the-
all the money I need, so let's save the little green guy.
Well, it's the most bizarre thing too, because you've got strangely good character development in a character that you can't actually see ever. I mean, it's weird. It's pretty weird, but it's good
Yeah.
stuff.
This is the way.
This is the way.
I think we're gonna watch Aladdin tonight. I think that's
Oh,
what we're
you know
gonna
what?
do,
I
since
think
it
that
just
you-
came out on Disney Plus.
you should probably watch The Mandalorian instead of Aladdin. I just
Yeah. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you guys haven't seen The Joker yet, that movie is dark as hell, but it's really my style. It was awesome.
nice.
I mean, some people are like, I didn't like it. I liked Heath Ledger. Dude, this movie is good, but it will mess you up.
the previews
so-
are amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah, I
it.
mean, it's
Yeah.
really good. I
It's
mean, I
better to
loved
be
it.
prepared.
It kind of reminded me, if you've ever seen Requiem for a Dream, have you ever seen that?
Oh.
Had Jared Leto in it.
Oh, that
with,
movie ruined my life for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of life ruining. It's that kind of life ruining.
Oh,
You know, but
Yeah.
it's good.
it
It's
just
so
makes you
good.
feel bad.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but it's so good. I love
Talk about
Punisher.
movies with a bad ending. Come on.
Jason, think of it this way: it's like Black Mirror's version of Joker.
Oh,
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
well,
I mean, but that mind-bendy stuff, man, that's what we need. We need that. Well, I need that. Okay. I need that.
Lauren, you better keep an eye on him. All right, guys. Well, we are out of time tonight, but this has been a really fun conversation. I feel like we really educated the masses here tonight and taught people how to write and be editors and that good stuff. And also, guys, watch The Mandalorian because there's this freaking adorable character called Baby Yoda.
The child.
Baby Yoda.
Does he even have a name? Does
No,
he
no.
really have a name?
It's the child.
And if you don't watch
child.
The Mandalorian, to get Jason's books next week or our book.
Yes.
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 Hold on, quick one's here. Oh, and Jason.
Oh, yeah.
You
Let me. I got to make your pictures bigger. Wait, there's too many of you doing this. All right. So there's book
The news
one,
is already out.
and then there's book
Jane is coming
two.
out this week.
Well, I like that character. She's really cute.
Thank you.
And Jason, we should probably mention our new sponsor for the year.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
The Roto-Rooter Plumbing has decided to sponsor us
Really?
this
Great.
year on the show. No, it is it is Creative Edge Publicity Services. Our good friend
Oh.
Mickey Mickelson, who was also sponsoring The Raven, and The Raven and Spilling Ink have decided to mate, and they're going to create some kind of little cool love child there.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting love child.
consolidate the platforms. We've got the bird and then the cat butt. They seem like a natural fit. So it's going to work out. I'm pretty sure. It is. But no, we love Creative Edge. They're always sending us amazing authors to work with. Many of them Canadian, and those are kind of my favorite people right now. So yeah. So thank you, Creative Edge. We're really, really happy to be involved with you guys. So. Was
My
I supposed to
face
say
hurts.
anything else? Yeah, because mine does too. Like right in here. I'm like,
Yeah, man.
man.
Building those Asian cheekbones.
Covered everything for this week, but we will be back. Our schedule is back on track with every week, every Saturday night we'll be here. So definitely look for us. Please hit the like button if you are on YouTube and the subscribe button. That helps with the algorithms so that we can actually be seen a little bit better without having to always hound you about our scheduled dates.
Oh, look at, we've got a long message from Lauren. This should be our parting comment here. Mike was great, and you know it. He just has no filter. What you see is what you get. But he has more intelligence and integrity in his little finger than any man I've ever known. I'll bop
Oh my
you.
god.
Damn. That's sexy right there, Mike.
Hey man, I didn't say it.
Well, everybody, we love you. Good night.
Good night.